Hey everybody, Dave here at Pulp Alley, and today we're going to talk about putting together this lovely ship by Firelock Games. Firelock Games makes this lovely ship here, and that's what we're going to be putting together. I was looking over at the YouTube channel trying to see if there were any tips or tricks as far as putting this together, and I was kind of surprised that there weren't any videos about putting these together. Um, so I figured, well, I'll put one together myself and see if it helps anybody out there. So just a few things about putting this kit together, a few things to watch out for, a few things that I kind of like about it, and just be careful of. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I actually like the kit, but there are a couple things to think about when you're getting into this. So it's a nice size ship, not terribly expensive, and as far as scale, here are some figures on it. Here's our Captain Hook, Smee there. So you can see it's definitely not by any stretch a big ship, but it's a good size for gaming. When we look at the size of the table that we typically use, this ship is taking up a relatively small footprint. It is resin, so this whitish material that you see here is unpainted, and that is some resin. And then it also includes some MDF pieces, such as these pieces here that you pop out and use for your rigging and your masts. And it includes also some dowel rods. So that's pretty handy too. I was looking at the instructions on how to put it together because it maybe not quite as easy as I thought it would be. So there were a few things that left me scratching my head. Before I get too far, though, I wanted to share a couple things just about the resin. Relatively good resin molding job here, but as always, watch out for, little things here and there that need to be cleaned up. For example, the windows are completely covered up when I opened it up. So these were completely covered in resin, and if you want them to be open, then you're going to have to go in and cut those open. A few little places here and there that needed a little bit of cleanup work as well. The holes for the masts fit in there pretty nice. This one up here, this mast actually does sit at a little bit of an angle, so that means it's highly likely that there's going to be some extra resin that accumulates in that hole. And you just have to get in there and kind of pop it out. The same with the slots for your rigging supports here and here. Those are quite likely to have a little bit of resin dollop inside that slot, and you just take your X-Acto knife and go in there and pop it out of there, cut it out carefully. So not a big deal, just be careful. And one of the things I guess that kind of confused me about this one, the angular rigging. If you look at the photograph here that's on the side of the box, you can see that the masts are sitting at one heck of an angle. So when I looked at the instructions online to see how that worked, it kind of suggested that this piece was glued in at an angle, which it's obviously not glued in at an angle. It has a hole in it that slides down the mast, and then you have this slot. And what happens is with that slot is that you're going to put your mast into that slot, and then it's going to create the angle by the way you glue it in there. So when you do this, make sure you don't glue all of these supports on until after you get it in that slot. So once you slide it down inside there, you can see that it's at an angle now, like that. So that slot is what creates the angle. So you're going to glue it, on this side, on that side, and get some glue in the middle there. And that's what creates that angled mast for you. And then you have the piece at the top that supports your rigging. So really cool. I haven't really decided whether or not I'm going to put a sail on this. I always like these sorts of things, and I like it when you see the cool sails and the flags and all that sort of stuff. But because I'm a player, because I am a gamer at heart, I'm not doing this for a diorama. I'm not doing it for a promotional photo or, to put in a magazine, yada, yada, yada. Yes, it's always cool to have your stuff look cool. But there becomes a point where looking cool becomes a nuisance when you're just actually a player trying to play a game, and then you have all of this stuff that's in your way, and it's fiddly, and you're trying to get in there, and I'm gonna just see how much of it I'm actually gonna do. If you guys want to see the finished product, let me know. Um, so on the front piece, it's the same thing. I guess one warning, or to not a warning, but to make you aware of it. On mine, the two masts are supposed to be the same dimensions, but they're not. So ever so slightly, one of these two rods is just slightly smaller or bigger than the other one, diameter wise. So that kind of threw me off a little bit. As far as what I used to glue it all together, mostly super glue on this one. I'm not sure if I used any wood glue or not on this. Yeah, I used some wood glue on these pieces here. I used some wood glue on this mainly, but then on the rest of it, I mostly used super glue to glue this stuff in. So I would use this sort of ship, all over the place. So I feel good about being able to use this in a lot of games. And that's what I look for. If I had a big galleon, that would be super awesome. But it would also be a little less usable for me. Something like this, it's pretty easy for me to fit this into a lot of different games. Anywho, let me know what you think. Do you guys want to see it when it's finished? Let me know in the comments. While you're at it, make sure you get subscribed, hit the like button and the bell, and we're gonna see you next time. Bye, everybody.